Hey,
you're now listening to So You Were Saying
with Dora and Lex.
Tune in every Friday for the latest episode.
Well, hey, guys.
Hey, guys. Hey. Welcome to another episode of So You Were Saying with your host,
Dora.
and Lex.
Hooty hoo.
We need to get more in sync on our our intro.
No.
The noises.
I know, but they just work.
True.
It just plays out better.
You guys, so today is a bonus episode.
Bonus.
It was not planned.
No, it's not. So we're going to figure out how it's going to go.
Yeah, because today we were actually supposed to be recording the last episode of the season. However, that episode is so deep. Neither one of us were in the mental space to deal with that type of episode. So we decided to do one that was requested by a follower of ours. And we appreciate the support that you constantly give. So this episode is for you.
We love you.
I don't even think we've come up with a name for it yet.
No, we haven't.
But the topic is basically going to be friendships and how to remain friends and all that good stuff. So without further ado, here we go.
I guess here we go. Don't point at me like I know where the hell we're going with it. I told you. We were just at BJ's, y'all.
Seriously, we were doing grocery shopping and it was like, I don't think we should do this episode tonight.
Right.
And it's like, oh, let's do this one instead. And it's like, great, let's do this.
Let's do a happy episode because a depressing or not depressing, but.
No, the next episode is really.
It's a strong.
Deep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those episodes where it's kind of like we might have to put a trigger warning.
Right.
But that's not what we're here to talk about today. So let's get to it. Friendships. You guys. Dora and I have been friends because I know we actually get this question a lot. Like, how long have you guys been friends? And how did you start? And et cetera, et cetera. So,
why does this exist?
Right. Like, what made you guys do a podcast?
That's a famous question.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's like the number one question. Dora and I have been friends for 6 years.
She knows the math. I don't because I have horrible memory.
Well, no, I know it because... you know, my relationship.
Oh, right. Yes, Penelope. So technically, okay, so it's funny because Lex met Penelope at the facility where we both worked.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so long story short, Lex used to actually work for me at the facility. I was the manager and she came in for a job. I
had just moved back to New York.
Right. And then she applied for the job. I interviewed her. Who was it?
My stepmother at the time.
Right. Exactly. Put in a good word. She's like,
because I was not going to talk to Dora, y'all. Let me tell you. First of all,
God,
she had the resting face.
Oh, God.
I can't curse because, we're not cursing on this platform. So the resting bee face. And I remember asking one of the staff members, I love her. I miss her. I hope she's doing well. But I remember asking her at that time, I was like, that's the manager? And she's like, yeah, that's like who you would have to ask about a job. And I'm like,
oh, that was E.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I'm good. Mm-hmm. And I think I was about to say a name. Mm-hmm. And my stepmom at the time was like, girl, don't worry about it. I'll do the talking. And I was just like, you sis. I'm not talking to her. Back then I was very I wasn't secure in my professionalism, my manners and profession. How do you say that? How would I word that? I want to make sure I'm speaking grammatically correct here.
Right. So you weren't as confident as you are now as far as your eloquency in professionalism.
Thank you. See, she just be knowing.
I don't even know if I said that right, but sure.
Whatever. It sounded nice. Sounded better when you said it. But anyway, so I didn't want to go talk to her. Whatever. Long story short, interview got set up. I got the job. Boom. I was her staff member.
Right.
And how we became friends, honestly, I don't know.
There was something, I just remember, and this is typically what happens with any relationship in my life where, it becomes like a long life, like, okay, you are definitely my person and you're definitely like my family. It's always something like, I don't want to say traumatic, but it involves something like
it involves a
problem.
Lot. Yeah.
Right.
And around that time, so a lot was happening, right? I had just moved back to New York. I was staying with a family member who we didn't connect well.
Right.
And so I was in and out of places. And aside from that, I can't bring that up.
Why not? What?
Because it's personal to you and no one really knows yet.
Oh, okay.
But that was a big point for us.
No, but you could say it without actually saying it. I was going, okay. So in essence, what Lex is referencing is I was in a very toxic relationship at that point in time. And I needed to get myself out of it. And I was kind of in the midst of it. And it wasn't so easy to get out. It was just not, I didn't have the flexibility of just saying, you want to know what? I'm going to just dip out for many reasons. And I maybe someday I'll go into it in a different episode, but that's what she's referencing. I was in a toxic relationship. Mentally, I was also not in a great space.
Right. So, however, Dora was so very closed off from her staff members in the sense of like she kept her personal life very private. But
right.
I know I'm the type of person where it's like I'm not nosy, but if I know, like, I'm nosy. I'm slightly nosy to an extent, but nosy in a good way. Like if something's wrong with you, I'm going to be persistent about finding out so that way I can help in some type of way. That's my type of nosy. So whatever, things, came out and we just kind of like it clicked for us. I honestly don't know how we went from.
Oh, I think I know, but I don't know if you want to actually disclose exactly what your situation was at that point in time.
Oh, I'm good. You can go ahead.
Okay. Because I remember, you remember the conversation that we had about you using the facility because you didn't actually.
Yeah, you guys, I was homeless at a point in my life. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Is my truth. Like I was homeless at a stage in my life. Like I said, I was in and out of places. And I didn't have anywhere to sleep.
Right.
I didn't have anywhere to sleep. I was working full time. I was in school full time and I was homeless. Right. So it was tough. Like I needed somewhere to sleep and she allowed me to sleep upstairs in the office.
She's my look, if the facility is listening to this, I took full advantage and did everything that I needed to do to protect my people, okay?
Period. No, seriously, it's true. Like I was sleeping upstairs in the office and I would go downstairs and I would shower and then I would go to school. And when I got to school, I would go to work. Or, if I was working the morning shift, I would go to work first and then go to school. Like it was a lot.
Right.
I mean, it got done, but that's why it took me 4 years to get a 2-year degree. But it is what it is. I had to work more than I was. I needed to be in school at that stage in my life.
And I think, honestly, that was one of the reasons why we became so close. When you started going through that whole situation and kind of like disclose that, and then, my whole situation about like the toxic relationship came out, we kind of just built a bond on like trust because we already knew so much about our personal life. And then it was just kind of like, okay, so if you don't allow me to sink, I won't allow you to sink. And
literally, we had each other's backs since then. Excuse me, guys, I'm burping. But we had each other's back since then. And it was just
right.
We've been inseparable ever since, honestly.
Right. And that was because imagine like how many things, and I gotta tell y'all, like for whoever worked at the facility, if y'all thought that Lex was in your corner, guess what? No,
I wasn't.
she had one person's back, and it was not y'all.
It wasn't. No.
So if you were wondering, how was it that Dora knew all these things?
It was me.
It was Lex. Oh, God.
It's funny because I've seen a reel recently where it's like, oh, it's only for you to hear, and then it's like, and my husband, but for me, it's like, and my best friend. It's like, and Dora's gonna know. Dora's gonna know.
But it was, it honestly, it took time. And I think, like they say, if you want something, and it's with like any partnership or relationship that you grow, right? Things aren't given, they're earned.
100%.
And it's just one of those things with us. Like, I think time and time again, when like ish hit the fan, it's just like we just showed up there for each other and had each other's back. And that kind of just like, right.
It was like unspoken. Like it was so unspoken. Like we didn't even have to think about it. It was kind of just like, this is what you need. I got it.
Right.
Even if I don't have it, I'm going to make it happen. Like there's been times where Dora has literally, oh God, I'm not even going to cry in this episode. Like she has literally given me, damn, oh crap, I can't curse, but damn near her last. Like, because I didn't have. And it was like she was going through her own thing and still looking out for me. And it just, man, we made it work. We made it work in the beginning. And over the years, we just learned each other. Yeah. We are not always on the same page. We're completely different.
We're not.
We have completely different personalities.
Most of the time, we're not. All of the time, we're not. It takes convincing.
we have completely different personalities. We have completely different upbringings. Yes. And you guys will learn that in the next episode. It's so opposite. Like, we're so opposite. And when they say opposites attract, I usually am like, nah. But in this case, it really worked out for us.
But you want to know what I think, why it works? And it's funny because on Wednesday when we were doing everything that we were doing, that person asks like, oh, how is it that opposites, work in this situation? And I kind of just said, I think it's just because we're so direct. I think that's one thing between Lex and I, and most of, my friendships. And again, my circle is very small. Like, my circle is consistent of 4 people.
Right.
And that's about it. But the one thing that is the same, even though all those people are very much different, is the fact that we're very direct. And sometimes it's, I have great things to say. And sometimes it's, I have bad things to say. Mm-hmm. But no matter what, it's like, I love you throughout.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm never going to lie to you. So it's always, so what type of friend do you need me to be right now?
And we will ask each other that seriously, like, depending on the day. Like, there have been times where we've called each other crying, one or the other, not at the same time, but one or the other. Sometimes we have cried together. That's a whole different story. But like, we will call and one of us is in tears and the other person is just like, okay, do you need an ear or do you need advice? Like that, It's important to know that not everybody wants your advice.
Right.
Sometimes they just need you to listen. They just need you to let them cry. They just need you to allow them to be vulnerable within your space,
right?
Because their space is too overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And we do that for each other, like, without thinking about it. Like, it's just like, this is what we need right now. And we communicate. I mean, communication it's so important in every relationship that you have, whether it's with your friends, your family, your significant other. Communication and honest communication is super, super important. And that's how our friendship has lasted as long as it did, because even when we don't agree, we agree to disagree,
right,
respectfully. And if it does, like, I can't think of a time that we've really ever gotten to a point where it's become disrespectful, but it has definitely become heated and emotional, and we take a step back. And then a couple of days later, we'll be like,
it's never been disrespectful. I mean, has it gotten heated? And it's just like, okay, like, you're definitely like standing on corner right, and I'm definitely like corner left, and I'm like, okay, I'm not budging on this one because I know that I'm not wrong. And you're like, no, and I'm like, oh no, I'm standing my ground on this one. It's definitely been that type of situation, but never the disrespect. Like,
never disrespectful.
Never.
Like, we've never crossed that line. Never.
No. People have tried to cross the line at each other, and then it was just kind of like, whoa, wait, hold on.
You're not gonna go there with this person,
right?
And that's just that. Like you can never. What?
No, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
I was just gonna say, like, you can never come to me disrespectful. Like, no one can come to me about you in a way that, like, I would nip it in the bud.
Right.
In 2 seconds. It's like, whoa, I don't care what you have to say. Right. That's not how you're gonna say it about this person. Mm-hmm. So fix your words.
Right. It's because that actually reminds me of that whole situation. Another situation that happened at the facility that I always remember is the day that the lady cursed you out.
Yo, that lady, let me tell you, I don't know who that lady was. But she's lucky I have evolved. She's very lucky that I am not the same Alexis that stepped into that facility in 2014. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Because she would have got the business.
No, yes. It was I don't even remember. I don't even think I was at the front desk when that started happening.
You weren't
Somebody
there.
Called me. Was it you? Did you call me?
I called you, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was...
Yes.
It was either you... No, I don't even think it was me who called you. Who was working that day?
I
don't
idea.
Remember.
Somebody.
But no, I didn't call you. Somebody called you for me.
I came downstairs. I just remember walking downstairs.
No, you were upstairs on the camera. You was like, I'm reading your body language.
Oh.
That's what it was. I'm like, why does this? I didn't call you. Yeah, you came down because you were upstairs on the camera.
Look at this, Dora. That is typical me, though. If I am that manager. So one thing that I just have to throw out there, like, people are like, oh, and I mean, from people that have heard, they're like, oh, I can really hear the difference in personality. And it's just like, you seem so stern. It's not that I'm stern, but when it comes to my business, I'm like full business, 100%. But I'm very fair. Like, Lex will tell you I am that manager.
She's fair.
Well, don't roll your eyes and be like
well, you are fair. I still think you guys, like, when she's at you guys, when she's working, she's not the door that you get on the podcast.
I can't.
I'm just saying.
I'm protecting the bag
at all times.
At all times.
And at all costs.
But no, that day, yes, that would be typical me, that I look over the camera and I'm like, wait, why is my staff member looking like she's about to punch this?
So basically what happened was the lady came in, she was upset about a billing discrepancy.
Right.
And I had already explained to her numerous times, like, sis, I can't help you. Like, there's nothing I can do. Well, let me speak to the manager. I'm not about to bother my manager for something that she can't fix for you. It's too much. I'm not going to bother somebody else and push the problem off to them because you mad. Deal with it.
Oh,
and that's how I am.
Here we go.
So she, you stupid B. First of all, in my family, the B word is like the most not when you're saying it and like, how you
might be.
Right. Like, not in that sense. Mm-hmm. But if somebody, a man in particular, or, a woman just using it in such a vulgar, disrespectful way, they throw hands for that in my family. Like, it's not okay.
And Lex was about to throw hands at the front desk.
And so Dora came at the right time, because the moment that I'm talking about, y'all, the B word came out her mouth and Dora was like, Alexis, I got it. I'm just like,
it was like human.
I'm like, how did you get here? What are you doing here right now?
Yes.
But
that was a good.
It was, that was one. And then another time at the facility again was when Dora was in a situation.
Oh God, the lady,
y'all. Let me tell y'all how in sync we were in the beginning. I'm talking about, this is like the beginning of our friendship, but it was like
not even okay. And let's just clarify, it wasn't even. We weren't even
friends. We weren't even friends then. Honestly, at that stage, that all this is happening, we weren't friends. She's my manager and I'm her employee.
Right.
But we just, like I said, it happened so genuinely that that was actually the day that it happened with you was the day that I feel like things got solidified.
I'm your friend, girl.
He's like, yeah, I got your back, sis.
We going down together.
It was this lady in the facility where she was doing something that it was
you could say it. She was homeless and she was trying to live in the facility.
But no, aside from that, it wasn't just that. It was someone had came back and said, hey, this lady is recording in the bathroom.
Oh, right. Because she pulled out a laptop.
Yeah, she had a laptop.
Had a camera. And then she was being weird. You can't do that in a locker room.
Yeah. So
weirdo.
Oh my goodness. Leave the lady alone.
She's a weirdo.
I can remember her face too.
I know.
It's so weird.
Yes, I know. Scary face.
But
she was still getting punched.
So, by this point, we're getting everybody out of the locker room because this lady is just being aggressive.
Highly aggressive.
Super aggressive. So we've already, evacuated the locker. It's like, you guys have got to get out of here. We need to figure out what's going on with this lady. Let's handle this, and then you guys can come back in and get your belongings. So it got to a point where the lady just kind of like went at Dora. Mm-hmm. And
mind you, I'm very meek-milled. Like, I'm not the type to like, okay, we're gonna throw it. Like, no,
she's not that person at all.
I'm not that person at all. I will de-escalate a situation. I will walk away. I'm not petty. I don't have to win. Like, you can call me whatever you want. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. Like, I can clearly walk away. Nothing's worth a charge on my record, type of thing. But this lady was pushing her luck that day.
So all I saw was, at this point that it's happening, Dora's pinned in a corner.
Yes. And I can't.
She looked at me. I looked at her. We locked eyes for all of like 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. And I just nodded my head and I walked away. And I made sure that nobody was coming in and out of that locker room at the time that things were about to go down, if things needed to get handled. Because there's no cameras in the locker room. And it was going to be our story against hers.
It was going to be nobody's story because I was going to handle it. Because literally, Lex looked at me like she had never looked at me before. And I looked at her and Lex said, I could not recognize your eyes. And that's just one thing. It's just like, I'm very calm, passive, and everything like that. But first of all, do not think that you're going to invade my space. First of all, I'm borderline an introvert. Okay. And then
borderline?
Be quiet. Borderline. Okay. I'm an ambivert for the most part, but I really have low quotas for the outside type of thing. So that's why I'm saying borderline introvert. So then when you do that, and then I'm also not a touchy-feely person with random people. No, like with people that I know, I'm like, I'm getting better. But like with random people, I really don't want to in my space. And that lady, she crossed my space. I remember like feeling her, like
Her
her
body
breath.
heat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, no, you're too
She was
close.
close.
No, she was too close.
She was close.
Yes.
So whatever. So the point is that day really like solidified okay, we actually are friends. And
Right.
this is kind of just gonna be a thing. And then from there, it really turned into a thing. And then I moved up in the company and we were now at the same level. So it didn't have to be oh, you're still my employee and we need to have certain boundaries. It's like, girl, this is happening over there for you too? This is crazy.
Right.
Like, we have literally just been inseparable ever since. I wish like there was some other way that we can kind of explain to you guys. But the best advice that I can give if your friendships aren't lasting, one, you have to evaluate yourself first instead of the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a lot of time that Dora could have threw me to the curb because I wasn't the person that I am today at all. I was feisty. I was
sassy.
Super, super sassy. I've always been told I was super sassy. I was very confrontational.
Very. And not nice confrontation. Like,
no.
Not that confrontational as ever nice, but like
I
not
wasn't
bearable.
violent as in physical. I was more of like super aggressive in my, and I'm still, to an extent, I'm still aggressive in my approach in many things, but I'm not as angry as I used to be.
Right.
Like I was very angry at that stage in my life. So there was a lot of times where she had to check me. But the difference was, or at least...
Oh my God, yes. There was that time that you kept calling and I was like, do we not remember policy?
Yeah, I'm telling you, she has had to check me a few amount of times. And it was mainly because I was just so in defense mode because of my past. And again, we'll get to that in the next episode, more about that. But it's just, I had a lot of growing to do as a person. And she did also, but not in the same areas. So that's also another thing too. We balance each other out because the things that she needed to grow in, I kind of, it was like, I need to grow, but not so much in that area.
Right.
But the things that I needed to work on 100%, she was already like, let me teach you how to do this because you're not, you're not there. You weren't taught this in your life, but I got you. Like, I'm not going to let you fall.
And I think the one thing that I will always say, and I say this to Lex even now, is everybody's not your friend. I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to say that, and I'm adamant when I say that.
She still tells me that to this day.
I don't care.
Because I'm a very friendly individual.
Everybody is not your friend. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry that you meet out in the corner is not going to become your lifelong friend because it's not meant to be that way. Because in essence, chemistry can be found with so many people. Relationships, partnerships are built off of morals and compatibility with not only morals, but beliefs. All of the deep stuff, that's what builds the foundation for those long relationships, whether it's friendships, partnerships, anything that you say.
And you also have to understand that even if you guys don't have the same beliefs and morals, you both have to be okay with it not being your thing. If that relates to me, if that's going to work out, like it needs to be.
But no, to an extent. We don't agree. I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to say this because we don't agree on certain things, but our foundation of our morals and beliefs of who we are as people is very similar.
Yes, they are.
So if that wasn't the same, I don't think we could be friends. Because if you were like a petty person, a vindictive person, I would not be able to stand next to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying those foundations, those morals, those beliefs, not like the above that comes from everything else, right? Like, oh, okay, I like purple, you like blue, or just even things that go even into, deeper realms of just sciences and stuff like that, or politics. I'm not talking about that, but the root,
core foundation of who you are.
Right. That has to be in CMA, which in Italian means together, right? It has, I don't know why I remembered it in Italian and not in English, Lord Jesus.
Or Spanish.
Or Spanish. Right. But yes, it has to be together. And I think that's what we don't focus on when building relationships. And that's where we fault. Because if you're looking for loyalty and then the other person doesn't even have a basis of what loyalty is, then what are you building on? This fake, like everything else that's just a facade.
Right.
Just everything pretty on top.
Yeah. The gem for the day, people. I'm just saying, gem for the day. I mean, it's true, but we do get a lot of questions. I wanted this episode to be about friendship, but also about just a little background of our own stories and how we got here, because people ask all the time, like, how did you meet and things like that. And we're always just like,
it's just kind of always been this way.
It's just kind of always been this way. But, it was built. This friendship was built. It took time. It took patience. It took genuine love. It took genuine concern for the other person's well-being. You can't put everybody into your, not just your space, but into your heart. Like you give a lot to people. And that's like something that I'm learning now, because it's something that I've always done, was allow everybody into my space, mainly because I have like abandonment issues. We'll talk about that later. But
we all do.
That's just so for me, I've always been like, come, because if you have many, you can never have none. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, look at that. If you have many, you can never have none.
That gem. Second gem. But no, seriously. So that's how I've always viewed people. And it wasn't until more recently that and Dora has been telling me this for the last 6 years, by the way. But I was just like, no, it's okay.
No, I'm like, it's not okay. You'll see it's not okay.
So I definitely have many associates. I will say that. I definitely have many associates. I have many distant friends. I will consider some of them friends, just not close friends, but still friends, like still people that I can go to and things of that nature, and they can come to me or whatever. We'd be at each other's houses and all that good stuff. But if you don't have a person and you're kind of just like, well, why don't I have a best friend, or why don't I have a person? That's not necessarily a bad thing. Everybody's not meant for you, and that's okay. But when that person does come into your life and it's genuine and it's just full of this thing that you've never experienced, you'll know, and you'll hold them close. You'll hold them close, and it'll mean so much more to you, because you'll finally understand, like, wow, this is what a friendship should be, not just a here and there friend.
And then there's also situations where people don't actually value what they have, and that's why they don't have close people.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's just like, you have to be very careful, like, for those people that don't take energy given for granted from people. It takes a lot from an individual, especially you don't know their circumstances. You don't know how they are. If you have somebody like myself and I'm giving your time and energy, you don't know where I'm pulling that energy from to be able to give you that.
Right.
I might be at 0, but I'm pulling my last like -20 to be like, here,
take
I
it.
want you to have something. And if you don't value those moments and take advantage of those moments, you might lose out on great people. And I mean, it's all about life lessons. I'm sure, as you guys know, energy not being reciprocated. I lost a friend back then. And, I still think about it now. I'm like, wow, maybe, I mean, there's a lot. There was many layers to that whole friendship in itself. But what I'm saying is, sometimes we do need to just take a step back and just reevaluate what exactly we're valuing from people. Because sometimes people get caught up on, like I said, the exterior, the facades, but are not really actually paying attention to the deeper connections that those people, or the deeper energies that those people are giving, versus the other people. It's like, oh, well, I like those group of people and they're my friends because I can go party every single weekend. That's great. But what about that person that, when you're not doing great, when you're upset, is actually lending you that ear? Are you valuing that energy? Are you paying attention to that energy? Because that's a big thing. And that will also dictate exactly how great. And don't get me wrong, there's associates for different reasons.
Right. Everybody has friends and associates for different sections of their life. But just to go back to what you were saying about value, you guys appreciate your people. Like Dora and I, it's okay, I love you. Hey, that was great what you did today. Oh, thank you for doing this. Thank your people, bro. People are they don't have to do, just because they're your friend doesn't mean that they have to do things for you at all. I'm sorry, my throat is like a little, so
we're both
give me a
little
minute.
Hoarse.
But it's like, you have to thank your people, because you just don't know how far a thank you can go until you actually say it. And that person will kind of look like, oh, that's a different type of friendship, bro. When you show people that you appreciate their time, their energy, their effort, you will get more of that from them. And in the same sense, you will want to give more. Like, give and take in life is in every area. Guess what? The more you put out, the more you get back. It's just life. It's the way life works. And it will work that way in your friendship. So if you feel that person to you is a true friend and you're being a true friend to them, don't forget to thank your people. Show appreciation to your people. Do small things for your people, because those people, they matter. Like, they matter. That's like another big thing for me. Like, people don't appreciate their friends anymore. I feel like it's like they expect so much of their friends just because they call you their friend. No. At the end of the day, that person is human. That person has their own things going on. Right. And if that person is taking the time out to do something for you or to just listen to you, to talk to you, it's plenty times like at the end, random text messages we'll send to each other like, bro, I needed that. Thank you. Right. And it's just, that's how we are.
And the other thing to pay attention to is please don't take people's boundaries as reasons to disconnect from friendships or separate.
Yes.
Because some people, depending on who they are, and this is why communication is so big and getting to know, if you actually think that that's your friend, you should be having these conversations and having this openness of where you truly understand who that person is. If that person is an introvert and they do not want to go outside to this club and that's where you want to go, like maybe they'll extend themselves at one time.
Right. But stop inviting them. Not stop inviting. No, let me rephrase
but don't
that.
Like hold it against
them.
Don't
hold it against them that they don't show up.
Right.
It's like invite them because that's your friend. But then don't be mad. Like, I invited you and you didn't come. Thanks for the invite. Like, that's what I want to be included.
Right.
But I don't always want to go.
Right. Because you should understand. I mean, my boundary is I have a certain limit for the outside.
Right.
I just don't like, there's certain things that I'm not going to surround myself with. And that's just a personal choice. And people are allowed to be individuals. And they don't have to fit this cookie cutter.
And you don't have to talk to your friends every day, people. No, seriously. Some people be like, oh, I didn't talk to this person for so long. They're not my friend.
No.
I have other friends that I don't talk to months.
Right.
Months.
I don't see, yes.
I don't see them for months. Right. But when they know, we know what's up. It's like my male best friend, we could literally go months without talking. When I go home, we know what's up. The whole world knows what's up. Like, you can't, it's just, I don't know, like, people need to take this idea out of their head that the people that they consider, their friends or whatever the case may be, like, they have to be attached at the hip. You do that. Dora and I happen to speak so much because that's just who, I don't know, that's just who we are with each other. And honestly, at this point, we have so many things going on, right? Things overlapping that we have to talk as much as we do now at this point. But not every friend you have to talk to every single day.
Right. And a lot of it now is business that we talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just business and going back and forth, and we have to communicate because of the business. But I mean, we were talking a lot before, but the one thing that Lex has always understood is there's times that I have to disconnect. Like me being who I am, I just have to disconnect. For me, I get to a point where it's just like sensory overload, and I'm like, I just got to go. Like, I can't, no, I don't want the people. No, I just need my blood, and that's it. Like, that's just who I am.
Yep.
And I know I'm not the only individual that's like that. And I know that there's other people like that. But don't hold it against me. Like, I've definitely had situations where people hold it against me, and they're like, well, you don't want to be included. It's not that I don't want to be included. It's just that for me to be able to operate, I need to be able to make sure that my cup is at 100.
Right. You cannot pour from an empty cup, y'all.
Exactly. So please, for people like myself, or if you're, if you've ever met somebody like me, or, someone that's an introvert or has very definitive lines of boundary, just respect those, and you'll get a lot more.
All right, guys. So we are going to end it there. Learn your friends, love your friends, respect your friends, and thank your friends. And that's that.
Yes, ma'am.
So until next episode, have a great night. And as always, don't forget to follow us.
Please follow us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. You have Podbean, and you have Spotify. Please like, share, subscribe, follow. There's notifications on these apps, guys.
Oh, and also our final episode is coming up after the final. I know we mentioned in the last episode, we want to do a recap at the end. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, don't forget to email tell us at soyouweresaying.com so that way we can put it in our recap of the season.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye.